Welcome to the Real Pundits Podcast. I'm Brandon.
And this is Alex.
And today we have a guest, and it's Adam J.
Hello, folks. Glad to be here on this podcast.
Hey, thank you for coming out, man, and giving us a little bit of something new to talk about so I don't have to sit there and deal with his crazy behind.
Well, today we're going to be talking about slasher films, but first we're going to be talking to Adam a little bit about him and what he's got going on. So
go ahead, man.
Yeah, I actually just have my YouTube channel, Flim Master Adam at YouTube. I review movies, sometimes lengthy, sometimes not. Usually the lengthy ones are for older films. And it's appropriate. We're talking about slasher films today, as I reviewed every single Halloween sequel for my Big Film Fell segment. And that's actually the videos that have gotten me the most subscribers, so that helps.
There you go.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Recently, I worked on a documentary that I filmed, narrated, and helped work on like 2 years ago about the Dozier School for Boys that ended up in a film festival and a couple film festivals. I just went to one last week, and it was amazing. Like, we had a lot of the survivors of the Dozier School there thanking us, and they were crying, and it was a very emotional experience. I was very happy to be a part of it.
Nice.
That's really cool. So, since you just recently got through with going through all of the Jason movies,
Or Halloween.
Halloween.
Oh,
my
yeah.
bad.
And this was actually a couple years ago I did those.
Oh, a couple years ago.
Yeah,
but still, it's still fresh in your head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They are still fresh in my head. Absolutely.
We're gonna keep our normal run of things of how we normally do. Anything current. Do you have anything?
I've got nothing.
You've got nothing.
I've got nothing current to talk. Oh, yes. I'm going to be doing a review on Veronica. I keep hearing about on YouTube, on Netflix, that this is like the greatest horror movie to come out since, I don't know, sliced bread, and everybody's turning it off because it's too scary. So, challenge accepted. I'm going to be watching this and talking about how much it probably sucks.
Now, scary, or is this a gore fest?
So, it's supposedly scary. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I will find out.
All right, then I guess we'll find out. And if you don't show up for the next show, that means you've probably done something stupid and no longer with us.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You know, I don't normally take what people say like it's like the scariest movie ever on face value. Okay, let me tell you something. I have people telling me that the films of Ty West are scary.
Ooh.
Okay, and I'm sorry, those fucking movies put me to sleep every time. All right, like I did actually a whole video with a buddy of mine who's also on YouTube, Spidey. We did a whole video just like going over like some of his filmography and just talking about some of the scenes in it. And there's literally this movie called House of the Devil where nothing happens. It is literally a woman walking through a house for what feels like an eternity.
That sounds
all right. Like when you watch it, okay. All I could think was that scene in Spaceballs. Okay, preparing to fast forward. Fast forward, sir. In fact, never play this again. That's all I could think of watching this movie.
That definitely sounds like a fast forward moment.
When I do see Veronica, I'm going to keep an open mind. Okay, I'm sure maybe it is scary. Okay, there are a lot of directors like Mike Flanagan out recently who have really impressed me. So maybe this could be good.
Yeah, it could be.
Let's give it a try.
We just brought up we have a running debate between the two of us, so I have to ask you your opinion.
Oh boy,
who's better? Because you just brought up one of his films, Mel Brooks or Monty Python.
See, this has nothing to do with even slashers.
I know, but he brought up a Mel Brooks film, so now I have to get his opinion.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be perfectly honest with all the people out there. In terms of Monty Python, the only thing I've ever seen is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, boo.
Okay, and I'm sorry. But being said, I've seen pretty much every Mel Brooks film. I'm going to have to go Mel Brooks.
Looks like you just lost it.
I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm sorry breaking your heart there, man. But
That's two.
I saw Holy Grail, okay, and I do love that.
You mean three, because you remember my mom also has
That's right, three against one.
You're losing on that one.
I'll find Monty Python fans. Listeners out there, if you are a Monty Python fan, tweet at Alex here and tell him that Monty Python's better than Mel Brooks. I'm taking nothing away from Mel Brooks. He's amazing. I love him, but he's no Monty Python. Now, back to the subject of current stuff.
Current stuff. Oh, there was an article that recently came out, and since we're talking about slashers, Halloween is going to be coming out in October. It's going to be basically the new part 2. We're ignoring the original 2, 3, 4, 5, and going on and on and on. And they're actually doing this. Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back. Carpenter's involved. and we're going to get a chance to see what happens when 40 years have aged. So they're talking about the new mask, and the new mask is going to be aged 40 years. So this is going to be a very interesting thing to see, just a huge jump from the first one in the 70s to now, and what has actually changed.
So they're ignoring everything in between.
Especially 3.
Well, everybody should ignore 3. So they're ignoring everything in between, ignoring the fact that she's dead.
All right.
Ignoring the fact that he finally killed her in Resurrection. Even though the rest of the movie sucks, it was worth that 2 minutes.
I don't even know you right now.
Watching the payoff of him finally getting Lori was fantastic.
Bullshit. It should have ended on H2O.
It should have, but it didn't.
So
you have to look for the silver lining.
As far as I am concerned, Resurrection, that movie never happened. Everyone was on vacation. Check with Poland. It was horrible.
At least Lori died at the beginning of it.
Yeah, that was what made that was the payoff.
Everything else I'm going to ignore in the film. The rest of the film didn't exist. It was just a 2 minutes short of Lori dying in a mental hospital.
Well,
but before we get into too deep into this slasher conversation, Adam, what's the most recent thing you reviewed on your YouTube channel?
The most recent thing I reviewed on my YouTube channel, the 2 movies I just got done reviewing were 50 Shades Freed, which don't even get me fucking started on that, and pardon my language. All right. But I'm sorry.
It's all right.
All right. And you have Tomb Raider.
All right. So between the 2, I'm going to go with the lesser of 2 evils. So how was 50 Shades? Hey,
yeah,
review it.
I don't want you to spoil your review of Tomb Raider. People go check out his review of Tomb Raider.
Yes. Okay. All right.
But please, God, tell us your review of 50 Shades.
Now, the first part of this whole thing, if we're going to go there, did you see the first 2?
Yes.
This is now
I reviewed those 2.
This has now become a therapy session.
This is now therapy, movie therapy.
I need a couch to lie on. Mommy never loved me.
And no, she won't after the fact that you watched all 3 of those movies.
She disowned me.
Yeah,
She's
I kind of
"You see
expected
one more of those movies.
As she should have.
You don't quit this YouTube thing, I'll kill you. She showed me the knife.
I believe him. So, how did that make you feel?
So, how'd the movie work?
Okay, 50 Shades Freed. All right. For anyone who wants to go see this movie, do not. Who has ever seen it?
What made it so bad? Was it the story? Was it cinematography?
No,
what killed it?
See, that's the thing. There is no story. There is no character development. Christian Grey is just this creepy billionaire idiot who just creepily stalks this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it sounds like a horror flick. We're back to the slashers.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're back to slasher
This really
films.
is a horror film. This is a horror romance. I have never seen a more toxic relationship in any film, and I've seen Suicide Squad.
You got one better?
I do have a more toxic relationship in film.
Oh, bring it.
We were just on the subject of romance films. Technically, in Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Okay.
that was a more toxic relationship. The one between Jonathan Harper and Mina.
I do not agree.
He was the reason she didn't get back with Dracula. I think that's BS.
I don't agree.
She could have an eternal life and been happy. But I haven't seen any of the 50 Shades of Grey films. I have avoided them, so I have no leg to stand on.
I saw the first one just on sheer technicality.
I couldn't do it.
You know why Christian Grey can get away with the stuff that he does?
Because he's got money?
Because he's got money.
If it happens
if it was you, you'd be in jail. Like, so, this woman would call the cops on you. He would call the cops on me. Because he has money.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Fair enough.
And again, like, this is the most toxic thing I've ever seen. And the thing is, there is no plot. There is literally them being married, and they just do things and talk about things that don't matter. And then it lasts like 15 minutes. They try to shoehorn in like a kidnapping plot.
Would you say it's more toxic than Harold and Maude? Because Harold and Maude's if you look at it psychologically, that's pretty toxic. Like it's a pretty messed up scenario.
Yeah.
You're killing me, man. But
all right, so
and here's the thing: these two actors, they have no chemistry whatsoever. There was not a single actor trying in this. The writers didn't try. This is some of the most atrocious dialogue I've ever heard in my life, and it just hurts. It hurt to sit through it. Like, there was a reviewer out there called Jeremy Johns.
Ah, yes,
Okay,
Jeremy
now,
Johns.
when you see his review of this movie, he literally started it out with party favors, going, "It's over, it's over, it's over." I'm like, that's all I wanted to do leaving the theater. So,
you were happy that it was all
Yeah.
done.
Question. You said they had no chemistry.
none.
Okay.
None whatsoever.
Are we talking Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton and Twister no chemistry? Or is it worse than that?
Worse.
No, that's a good comparison.
Because that was... It took me from liking Bill Paxton, which I did before Twister, and then Helen Hunt's performance, and their lack of chemistry made me dislike. So, like, and granted, like I said, I haven't seen these films. I won't see these films. I don't want to see these films. These things are not my thing. But for the audience's sake, so you're saying don't watch it?
Never watch it. No. These movies do not deserve to be watched. I want every copy that exists of these movies and these books to be thrown in a space shuttle and launched into the sun.
See, I wouldn't want to have that done, because if some other alien actually bumps into that and they think that's what we are, then we're really going to...
I apologize for my outburst.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that the 50 Shades series of films is the E.T. Atari game of the cinematic world? Okay, perfect. Bury it in the desert next to E.T.
Pretty much. And the sad thing is, I don't know if any of you guys know this. You know it started as Twilight fan fiction, right?
I do, yes,
actually,
I do know that.
Okay, that just makes it worse. You think Twilight was bad? Twilight at least tried to have some semblance of a plot.
Yeah,
I will give it that much.
There's another subject that sends me into a rage fit, but I will not do that because we are still on the subject of Adam here.
Yeah.
Okay, so out of all your reviews that you've done, what's your favorite?
My favorite review is probably my review of Halloween 2 with my friend Spidey. It's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 that we did. And that was actually the first time we met. I was still living in New York at the time, but I actually flew out here to Florida to see him, and we recorded that. And what was weird about it was, like, all these other reviews premiered before it, but that was the first one filmed and the first one edited, and that was the last one to premiere. And that was, like, probably the most fun I had doing a review, because I got to do it with my friends. It was a lot of fun, and editing it was an absolute blast. So, awesome. And I think it has some of the best. I think it has some of the best jokes. Like, he actually comes out at the end of this when he's summing up the movie. He's like, I used to feel sorry for Vietnam War vets, but now I can say, suck it up. Like,
wow.
That is how much he hated this movie.
That was a double wow on our side.
Normally that comes out of my mouth.
That makes you go, wow. So Brandon got a wow. I'm impressed. So there is something that is worse than you.
Awesome. We're gonna have to get him on next.
Yeah.
See how many. I'll be like Joey Lawrence.
Whoa.
All right.
So where can we actually find you at? So for all of our listeners who may not know anything about you at all, YouTube.com/Flim Master Adam. Okay.
Yeah.
One more question. You said you just worked on a documentary. Have you worked on other films?
I've worked on a couple shorts. I've worked on some music videos. I've done work with this cinematographer, J.C. Conklin, who I've been his cameraman for a while. I help him out on a lot of things, and it's been an experience. So hopefully one day soon I can get the hell out of Pizza Hut and actually do what I want to do with my life.
For a little history here. Adam and I actually met while working at Pizza Hut. I came in as a guest manager at Adam's store. I slacked off the entire time.
Yes, he did.
And just talked films with Adam and a few other people there. So it was good times.
Well, now I know what you do in your spare time. All right.
Well, yeah. When I'm not on this podcast talking movies, I'm at other locations.
All he did was talk about
movies.
All he did was talk about movies and complain about SJWs. He's my hero.
Oh my God! It's literally it's my life. Oh, and
they're snorting
pro wrestling.
condoms now.
I know. Okay.
They're snorting condoms now.
I promised I wouldn't do this on the podcast.
Please,
so I'm not.
please.
We're not. Yeah. We're not.
We promised I would not.
Use them properly so you don't reproduce. Okay, I'm done.
All right.
Okay. However, we are gonna get into slashers
Slasher
now.
films. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to jump into some slashers. Let's bring out all of our research that we put together for this week's
We
episode.
were actually prepared this week. I was prepared last week too, but I left it on my desk at work.
Oh.
So this week, what the thing I want to talk about here before we get into the slasher genre, I want to talk about where slasher films came from. The history of it, of course, the slasher and splatter films, they have roots in French theater. I can't pronounce the word, but it's Grand
Google or something.
No.
Something to the effect of that. Now
we're
finding translators.
No. Where is it? Right here.
Yeah, this is what happens when we use paper.
Yeah, we don't have it on screen right now because I wanted to be old. Gragnol?
Right, Ranganol.
Okay.
Greganol.
Either way, these were in 1908. These made their first appearance in England. The whole purpose of these films, they were on stage. They gave realistic scenes of bloods and carnage for the patrons. And when they came to England, the gore was downplayed to more of a gothic tone because of England's, of course, censorship. And the first appearance of gore and realistic mutilation of the human body in cinema can actually be traced to Intolerance from 1916. I don't know if anybody's seen that film. I know I haven't. But
I can
after
say
reading
honestly, I haven't. But now we're going to go to the top of this list to the bottom and just watch some of these.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing that I did not know there was gore in a film in 1916.
So at that point, we jump into.
You get to 1932, actually, 13 Women.
Okay.
So 1932, 13 Women was another. It was another slasher film. I guess it's the earliest example of actual slasher because it does tell the story of a college sorority whose former members are set against one another by a vengeful peer. As they die, the culprit crosses out their yearbook photos. Sounds like, I don't know, many other sorority-based slasher films that came afterwards. So,
Battle Royale.
Now that we've talked a little bit about some of the history, Battle Royale, that we're not getting into the foreign market.
Hey, that's my turf.
No, I saw Prom Night.
Yeah. So that's in the early influences, of course. This was used later on in Prom Night, which is 1980, which we will talk about later. Graduation Day, 1981. The movie's climax takes place on a train, something echoed in Terror Train in 1980. These are early examples of maniacs seeking revenge tropes. So let's talk about the tropes of slasher films. That's not on these papers. The horror tropes, like the virgin living. What trope do you think is the worst, most played out trope in films?
Oh God.
The worst trope in horror.
The worst trope in slashers.
And slasher.
Okay. Honestly, what really bugs me, and I think that Scream actually made fun of this really good, was the woman has a chance to go out the front door and instead goes up the stairs. That's another one. That's one that really bugs me. Okay, but I think the one that really bugged me, and you never see it in a movie, okay, is they have him down and they run away. It's like, no, you have him on the ground. Stomp him to death and take the mask off. It's like these movie's over.
See, and in Scream, could you imagine if instead of crawling out the garage door, Rhodes McGowan's character would have beat him down and taken the mask off?
Yeah.
Even found it was Billy Loomis, they would have thought it was dead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Stu comes out of nowhere in the suit again, like killing people. They're like, oh crap. Mm-hmm. We didn't get the right guy.
Yeah.
She just beat down Billy Loomis and put him in the suit,
Yeah.
And it would have been at least... It would add something a little more interesting, but I get why they didn't do it. Of course, you want the twist ending of the two, and the whole thing. But the horror trope for Alex, you were in the middle.
The trip and fall.
The trip and fall.
The trip and fall is my first one because there's times where people have been running on the most flattest surface of the world and found the branch in the middle of the hallway at a school to trip over. Mm-hmm. To me, that's my first one, and then. Where are all these people who happen to have guns? This gets into my whole thug and horror movie thing.
The black guy should never die first. It's one of those things that every black person I know generally fights better than every white person I know.
And the black kid always dies.
Yeah, and the black kid always dies first. Like what? what's going on with that. But that's
Well, it's not always. Now, if we go back into our history of horror, well, you know, the strongest black man in my superhero in horror lived all the way up to the very end of the movie. One of your actual classics.
yes.
See, and that's where I get into the whole thing of not always does the black guy.
No, that was
die
Night of the
like-
Living Dead, though. That wasn't a slasher film. That's a zombie film. He just happened to be smarter than everybody else.
And he was. He was.
Yes.
All right.
Now, the trope that I despise the most, though.
Okay.
Why does being sexually active make you a target? How does that piss off?
Well, if you
Jason ain't getting none. You know. It's
I
like-
mean, obviously, I understand for Jason, I get it because like that's what they were doing instead of watching him drown. So I kind of get it.
that one makes sense. But see, if
But everybody else, like, oh, they're having sex. They must die now.
first things first, you must turn your book open, the great book of Cabin in the Woods. And it says in Cabin of the Woods.
Surprisingly, I didn't include in my write up, and I should have.
This is basically our own Cabin of the Woods. That last scene in which every horror creature in existence is just thrown in there. So this is basically our Cabin in the Woods. But that's basically it. I mean, it has to do with some type of sacrifice. So you have the sexual people; they got to die too.
And how does the big dumb jock die so quick? Like usually they're pretty tough too. Like you take a football player, like sure.
the nerds live longer than the jocks. You know, it's like really.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the horror movie that's kind of like more like Scream, where horror movies actually exist. So people go, "Oh, wait a minute,
Yeah, horror
can't do
movies
this.
don't
Wait a minute.
exist.
wait a minute. That guy's wearing a mask and he just killed my best friend. One of two options can happen: roll the credits. The guy just left. He's like, "Nope, I'm out."
So
So that's where we're starting off with, and so we're gonna start off with a list.
we're gonna go into the list.
We're
Okay,
gonna go into the list. I want to see if we're gonna start knocking these things down.
talking body count.
Let's talk the body count. That's what makes all these different things basically run.
Obviously, we did not cover all of our slasher films, but you have the body count list in front of you, Adam. What's the one at the top, man?
The one at the top, at the very top, is Pamela Voorhees.
Now, this is where I get into one of my issues with even talking about this movie, because there's so many people out there who have never seen the original.
And they think it's Jason.
I think it's Jason the entire time. So this is a huge spoiler thing. If you don't know this already, you need to.
You should be listening to this episode of the podcast.
Yeah, yes. This
Stop
is what,
right now. Go watch Friday the 13th from 1980, and then come back to it.
Yes.
Because Pamela was one of my horror heroes. Because, man, that broad was crazy.
Kill her, mommy.
Yeah.
Kill her, mommy.
That
And
was...
she had some kills.
Yeah,
And-
she did.
And
She
the
got-
first
Kevin-
woman of
She
of
killed
horror.
Kevin Bacon.
Let's all have a moment for that.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
So
that
we've
was
had
good.
6 degrees to Kevin Spacey, and we've already done Kevin Bacon. Not Kevin Spacey, Kevin Smith.
yeah.
All right, so next one after that.
But her body count was 9. She killed a total of 9 people in that film, making her the smallest body count on our list.
Yeah, one of the most effective
Oh, man.
icons in horror history, at least in my opinion. It's
Oh,
one of
yeah,
my favorite
I
horror
agree.
films is the original Friday the 13th.
Now, the next one is another one of my all-time favorites. And, of course, everybody has to give up to Norman. Norman Bates, Psycho. Ah, man.
See, the thing is, it's funny because I love the original Psycho. Again, another one of my favorites. Okay, I recently saw Psycho 2.
Oh, wow. You're not going the direction I was expecting.
Yeah,
'cause
I saw Psycho 2, and I surprisingly loved it.
I had no problem with it.
Yeah. Like, what I thought was the most effective about it was if they had just left him alone, he'd have been fine.
Yeah, that was the whole point.
Like that was the point. Everyone made him crazy again.
Yeah.
And it was so effective. And I think the most effective thing about the movie was that the thing that scares Norman Bates the most is Norman Bates.
Yeah.
He scares himself more than anybody.
Yeah. And then I was actually thinking about the whole Vince Vaughn version. Did you see that one? All right, now, as much as you want to go against it, we talked about this a little bit in our remake episode, but it was almost a shot for shot.
It was exactly a shot for shot. There was literally no creativity put
Which is
into
the
it
point, which is the only way,
whatsoever.
in my opinion, you should do a remake.
No, I
You're
don't
paying an
agree.
homage to the original
I don't agree with that.
by updating it.
Okay, like yeah, update it, but do new things with it, which this movie did not do at all. I mean, try to
I think there's
make it your own film. Don't just
No,
do
but
what
Let
the
me
original
add
did.
something to
make
that.
that
So we
completely.
watched that in 2010 with A Nightmare on Elm Street. We watched them add some originality to it, and it was crap.
No, it was absolute no, and yeah, you're right. That remake was absolute garbage.
So since we have lost the touch of, say, the Psychos
here's
from
the thing.
1960.
Here's the thing, though. You should only remake a movie if you think you can make it better. Both the Psycho remake and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, they both fail for completely different reasons.
Okay.
Neither one made the original better. Neither one were anywhere near as good as their original counterparts.
I can't disagree with that. However,
that is how I feel.
Vince Vaughn did a bang-up job as Norman Bates.
Like, here's the thing. I love Vince Vaughn. Very rarely do I like him in like a serious kind of role like that. I like him in comedy. I think he's better at that. Like in Lost World, I just found him so annoying.
Totally forgot about him in
Yeah,
Lost World.
I blanked that out.
He was Nick Van Owen in that
Yeah.
movie, and he was just like this annoying PETA moron. That
John Hammond sent backup. Who? Me. Terrible.
Oh God.
All right, so
The next one on the list is from a series I absolutely hate. But
the lore of it, though,
the lore is great. I hate, other than the first one, the first
Brandon, I
one
like
was
you again.
great. But my God. And it was only great because Justin Long made it great. Beyond that, the movie itself was garbage. And Jeepers Creepers is who we're talking about. We're talking about the Creeper, estimated body count of 20, equal to Norman Bates's body count of 20. And then we're going the entire series. They both killed 20 total people. I hate Jeepers Creepers. I hate it. I think it was the dumbest concept. I'm going to take the eyes and take this and stay alive.
see the,
It was so stupid.
the
It was
concept
stupid.
of
It's
it,
stupid.
I thought was interesting. And when it comes to horror, it was something at least a little bit different. Especially when it came out, we had Wrong Turn was coming out during that time.
Hills Have Eyes remake.
Came out during that time period. We just got done with the whole Scream arena, and we were looking for something new. And that came out, and I was like, okay, at least it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the concept of it. Now, how they executed it, that's where I think where the problems fell. I think that's where you guys have the, oh, this was really bad. It was the execution. The concept of this movie, I was like, okay. And then they improved upon it with 3, of at least telling the story. 2 is where I had to join you. At least you start understanding what the heck's going on. It may be so far-fetched that you have the living van that's going around hunting people, but at least the story started making, okay, there's a reason why he's doing what he's doing. And to me, that at least makes up for what 2 was.
I'm going to disagree with you. Nothing makes up for it. It's terrible. I hate it. It's garbage.
Here's the thing. The
Make
first
it go away.
Okay, everyone was telling me when Jeepers Creepers came out how scary it was and how amazing it was. I'm like, oh yeah,
Scary?
yeah. No, like I had
That's a
so
fun
many
movie.
friends telling me, oh yeah, you gotta see Jeepers Creepers, man. You gotta see Jeepers Creepers. I'm like, okay, fine. It sounds stupid, but I'll go see it. Okay. I finally saw it on DVD like 2 years later, and I'm like, this is probably the most boring thing since the Blair Witch Project.
Now,
I'm sorry.
Which I consider the Blair Witch Project the best marketing movie of all time.
Marketing movie, yes.
I find positive in a lot of these different things. I thought Jeepers Creepers 3, even though it was rough to get through, they finally started implementing parts of the story that they should have in 2 and in 1. So we'll get off of Jeepers Creepers and go into something else that we really... This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
This is going to be rough.
Okay.
Who's next?
Next is Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Estimated body count at 30.
That's actually, when I read this, I was very surprised that he only killed 30. Out of the entire series, only 30 people. And this includes
The remake.
the remakes and the prequels. And that, it makes him super, because people always put him up with Freddy and Jason and Michael, and it makes him really ineffective, realistically, in comparison to the others.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get into the how I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and how we all, we'll get into the movies that we like and dislike in that, because it's actually a pretty lengthy conversation there, but I was surprised by it.
Okay.
The body count there, very very influential film though. If you look at the where it comes from?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Except,
No.
well, Leatherface, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, like Norman Bates are all based on the same killer.
Ed
They're
Gein.
all based on Ed Gein. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're all based on that killer. But I find Texas Chainsaw Massacre to be such an amazing film, and what works so well about it is people are like, oh, well, the teens are just typical, the story's typical, it's nothing great today. I'm like, yes, it is, because it is one of the most visually stunning horror films. Okay, you see like all the horrifying imagery. Okay, like you will never forget this bed made of bones or that dinner table scene.
You're not going to
All right?
forget the
Like,
hook
just
scene.
the visuals
hook scene.
of these, the hook scene, exactly. Like there are just so many of these scenes that make you feel so uncomfortable and so uneasy. And for a movie that came out in 1974 to still be that effective today, hey, that says something.
I also think that what makes Texas Chainsaw Massacre is it goes against one of my favorite tropes of the Hitchcockian level thing. You know when this guy is coming. There isn't the, Michael Myers like just sneaking up on you type of thing. No, this guy when he's coming, he's losing his mind.
He's shrieking,
He's
squealing, revving that chainsaw.
Yeah.
So you know it's coming, and it still gets you. And that for me, that was a huge jump for my style of horror, because you know this guy's coming, and you still make the same mistakes and just end it.
And I don't know if I'm going to break your hearts with this. I did not like any of the sequels.
There were sequels.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one
Virtual clap on that.
that
one.
I know that likes the sequels for different reasons. And we'll get into that when we discuss how I rank them, how we rank them and all that stuff. But the next one on the list is...
one of my all-time favorite, hated ones of all time, Pinhead.
Now,
Hellraiser category, Hellraiser
it's
movies.
considered part of the slasher trope, but I don't really agree with it being considered. But we had to add it on the list because it is considered part of it.
That's a really big stretch for me, but it had an estimated body count of 35, and if you count the actual movie itself, I'll give it 36, because that should be slashed, but...
Wow!
That
All right,
was great.
I know what this the title of this episode is. Let's poop on everything Brandon loves.
Hey, I owe you one after
I
6
know.
episodes. I think I owe you one every once in a while.
It's true. I did talk really bad about Star Trek.
So I owe you for at least that
Oh
much.
no,
alone.
I got another Trekkie in the room.
Well, we can go through and do this later on. We got to get through a whole bunch of other slashers. All right.
All right, so the next one on the list is actually one of the greatest characters in slasher. Not because his movies are stupendous, not because of any other reason than Child's Play was just, you can't say Chucky without thinking of that crazy little doll possessed by Charles Lee Ray. But his estimated body count is a mere 38 through all of his films.
See, I believe that because like the body count in even the first movie is just 3.
Right, but
It was 3?
yeah, the
I
first
didn't
one
think
is
He kills 3 people in that movie.
yeah.
I thought it was 2. I must have missed somebody that...
But I thought in Child's Play 3 he killed more people, and I thought in the not the Curse of Chucky, the Bride of Chucky, he got in but he didn't. Now that I'm thinking about it, that each body count was pretty small. All right, cool.
No, like I do love the Child's Play series. For the most part, I didn't like 3. Like I love the first one. Second one's all right. I hate 3. I thought 3 was such a stretch because like they just jumped like 11 years or whatever, and then you got the kid from Lois and Clark playing him or whatever. Then you got Bride of Chucky, which I felt brought some life back into it, and then Seed sucked the life right out of it.
Yeah. Curse was all right though.
No, here's the thing. Curse, I think, is one of the best sequels they had. That and I know a lot of people have been giving it a lot of hell. I liked Colt too. I thought Colt did something so original. And let's be perfectly honest here. He should have been able to have multiple Chucky since Child's Play 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
His blood went in that entire vat. Did that whole all that melted plastic just go to make one doll?
It's true.
Makes sense.
We'll get into that part when we discuss the Child's Play movies when we rank them. As we've ranked a few of these, we haven't ranked all of them. We've ranked the important ones. The next one on the list is your go.
Oh. Actually, he is the killer from my favorite slasher film of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and that is Freddy Krueger.
So,
And really, his body count's only 39?
39 in the entire series.
Wow. you're including the terrible remake in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Remakes included. His body, because it was always a small group of teens that he killed.
That's true. No, you are right.
It was just the people on screen that you saw.
True.
Now, he does have something over everybody else on the list. Sure, Pamela Voorhees killed Kevin Bacon, but Freddy Krueger pulled Johnny Depp into his own bed.
That is true.
Yes, he did.
That is a very true point. I'll allow that to stand.
Fun fact about Johnny Depp being in that movie: he only got the role because of Nicolas Cage.
Because Nicolas Cage turned it down?
No. Nicolas Cage invited him to audition with him.
Huh.
Oh.
Johnny Depp was actually doing music at the time. He was in a band. But they were like buddies, so he brought him with him and Craven casted him.
Oh my God! Could you imagine if it would have been Nicolas Cage? That movie would have bombed.
Yeah.
All right, so
Next on the list.
Next on the list, all-time favorite, Ghostface from Scream.
Now, it's really difficult to put this because that body count is accumulated over multiple killers. So, but because Ghostface is an idea more than it's a person, I think it counts because, even in the first movie, it wasn't one killer.
Yeah.
But his body count is
49.
7 killers altogether.
Yeah, 7 killers. Really, 7?
Yeah, there was 2 in the first one, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, and 2 in the fourth.
Oh my gosh, I forgot there was only 1 in the third.
Yeah.
That's right, because they were trying to do something different.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha! I felt like M. Night Shyamalan directed that
Twist.
terrible film.
What's the twist?
I did not rank these on paper because there's so few of the films. So Adam, what is your how does it rank for you in all 4 Screams?
Okay. This is very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1, 4, 3, and 2.
A little bit off on mine, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually not.
1 and 4 are my top 2.
Okay, I thought 2 was honestly. I don't think it's a bad movie. However, I think it's the worst of all of them because honestly, everything felt on repeat.
Yeah,
Everything
but that was
felt, I understand like that was the
joke.
point, but it really felt like there was nothing creative being had, whereas the first one was all sorts of creative.
my problem with 2 and the reason it ranks is that because I agree with your list entirely. That's how I rank them.
Good.
My problem with 2 is that they killed Jamie Kennedy's character. I felt like he should have been the continuous because he was in the know.
I agree.
He should have been in 4.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been in. He should have been in every. Randy should have been in every film. That's the one character that they should have never killed. He should have been not killed, and then Sidney Prescott should have been the one that died at the end of 3 at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I get number 4. They would have killed the plot of that, which was great. It was the first time I didn't call the killers.
I did not.
And number 4, I didn't. I mean, I was wrong entirely.
I was too.
I thought it was Creepy Cop. And I thought it was
the boyfriend.
Yeah,
I thought it was boyfriend and creepy cop. That's exactly what I thought it was.
And I think they painted it that way on purpose because I did not see Cousin or Weird Movie Nerd.
Yeah,
because I thought that was going to be Randy too.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I was like, oh, cool, we have Randy 2 here, and then the guy with the headset. I'm shocked he got killed.
Yeah.
Guy with the headset may have been the killer.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was kind of teetering until he died, and then I was
like,
oh crap.
Now, with the body count at 49, you are including that
MTV series,
TV series, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So there's more than 7 killers. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't count that. I'm not going to talk about because it's an idea, and that was that was an idea, but it was a bad idea, so we're not going to even rank it.
Yeah, good.
All right. So next up
is the Leprechaun.
Oh God.
It is
I'm
counted.
gonna let you talk about this one because I can't even. Stand this one.
I can't talk about
either.
it. I have to list it because it is considered part of the slasher film, and the only positive I can say is
Davis.
In the first one, it was at least something new.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I can say is the jokes when he was in Las Vegas were solid. Other than that, I have nothing positive to say. But the Leprechaun's body count is 50. Which puts him higher than everything else that came forward.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
That's fairly impressive for that little guy.
That makes me cry.
That makes
inside.
me cry.
I'm dead inside. But either way, I do love Warwick Davis, and he obviously really has a ball playing this role because they just let him. They put him in the suit, let him have fun. It's cool.
I don't think there's even a script for it.
It's
more like an outline.
Dude, they put him in space in the 4th one.
That one's where I was.
I don't even know.
He was in the Hood twice.
Which was
space
that
once.
was so bad. Ice-T was in one of the
Leprechaun in the Hood too.
Yeah. All right. So to redeem from that whole situation,
The next one on the list is
Peter, Angela Baker from Sleepaway Camp, and I love Sleepaway Camp.
and again,
Everybody
it's another one of those movies again that goes in the same line of Friday the 13th.
One of the greatest twists you will ever see in a film.
Yeah,
and there's that scene at the end of the first one is one you'll never forget. That face.
that made it. I just got the chills now thinking about it, and you making that face. I was thinking about it.
And no, but not even the face, just the noise coming from her mouth.
Well, and let's get past just the face. The fact of what was farther below the face. Yeah. So if you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp, that would be probably a recommendation at the end of the show to go watch Sleepaway Camp and.
But the body count.
The body count. 58.
58 on the body count. That's impressive.
It's pretty impressive, especially since the first one had. I'm trying to think of how many the first one had.
9.
Was it 9?
9 in the first one. They didn't start getting really good and ramping up the body count until 2, and then of course Teenage Wasteland, and then they did Return to Sleepaway Camp, and then they did Survivor, which is the most recent one. But next on the list is my least favorite.
Which I don't even understand how this is even on the list, but it is in some way added on the list. And I, again, want to remove this one from the list, but is Jigsaw. I want to count him for a couple of reasons. He got his body count up to 60. But at least the next one we have after that is better.
Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
Hannibal Lecter. Not really also Silence of the Lambs, not really a slasher. I think Hannibal was more of a slasher film than Silence of the Lambs. But when you talk about Hannibal Lecter and Red Dragon, so I guess it's in
I don't even see them as like horror films. I see them as like police procedurals. Psychological.
Psychological thrillers. But it is, when I was looking this up, it was counted.
Okay.
So it is, body count is 98 for Hannibal Lecter. Look at that jump.
98. That's 98 tacos or something with fava beans. Yeah. And a nice Chianti.
It's 98 people that he ate.
Yeah, that's the part that makes that fun. That's 98.
How did he kill? Wait, 98
through the entire series.
Okay, we're talking. Okay, so Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs,
Red
Dragon, Hannibal, and Hannibal Rising.
Correct. 98 people total.
A lot of food.
Hey, are you sure about
this? His career was a lot longer than most too, because he started as a child.
That's true.
If you break down the entire story.
Okay.
All right. So next one up.
It's
All right. Now we're getting to the good stuff.
Okay, we're getting into my man Michael Myers. An estimated body count of 107. That I believe.
Kind of light there, man. Yeah. Well, expecting a little bit more.
Yeah.
107 people, and you can't. And that is including the Rob Zombies remakes, and I've already gone on that rant. I don't have to do that tonight.
Good.
Okay. We move on from that one.
I'll move on to the next one because this one surprised me. That came in at our with the body count the way it is.
It's our oldest film.
Claude Rains. It's the oldest film on this list. Claude Rains' Invisible Man. I didn't even realize that was a slasher film, but he killed 123 people. 123 people. That's pretty impressive for a movie I didn't even consider a slasher.
Very true.
Yeah.
And then I'll let Alex...
No, wait, are you including Hollow Man in that? Or?
No, this is just Claude Rains' Invisible Man.
Okay.
This isn't remakes. This is
gotcha.
This is that one movie.
All right.
And last but not least, at the top of the list, Jason Voorhees.
Friday the 13th, Part 2 and on.
Is a grand total of, estimated, 146.
That is impressive.
That's a lot of people. Now, I'm going to sneak in an honorable mention because I think he only got 1, maybe 2 in the total movie, but I have to bring it up. Candyman was not on the list. I'm kind of angry about that. For
you want to be here for 5 hours?
Yeah.
If we can
start adding people. If
we're gonna go there, Aichi the Killer. If we're gonna go there, Aichi the Killer should be on that list also.
Should be the highest. Would be the highest.
That chick from Audition needs to be on here.
All right, so let's.
Michael Bay needs to be on here for murdering so many films.
All right, yeah. See, you can't
Ninja
get me
Turtles.
started. You can't get me started because I actually watched an amazing Michael Bay film. Yeah.
13 hours?
Yep. 13 hours.
That is his best film.
I haven't watched it because it was Michael Bay. I will go watch it.
Here's the thing. I am not a fan of Michael Bay. I have actually made many videos, like, reviewing his films where I'm like, no, I hate his directing style. I do not like the way he directs actors. And honestly, I do not think that he's a very good director at all, even though he's a good visualist because, like, he knows what he wants. Like, you see, like, the endless sunsets and, you know, the army close-ups and the American flag. Like, you know that's Michael Bay. All right. But with 13 hours, all of that actually works. So
and that's that.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go through and we're going to have another day of just 13 hours.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, for once, let the man get his one moment of praise, and then everything else is garbage.
In my review, okay, I actually opened it with a Payday candy bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I opened it like, Michael Bay, I'm going to take back some of the bad things I said about you. You've earned it.
You've earned this one. All right, so we went through our list of the body counts. Brandon, I'm going to let you sit there and go through. Just pick one of those off of that list that you would love to just to go through and run down your best of out of that entire thing. Which one would you pick out of all these movies?
Well, let's go with our biggest killer. Let's go with Jason Voorhees.
Wow. So we can have our final argument of this whole situation based off of Friday the 13th.
All right. So I ranked these films before I came here. And I'm going to go off what my number 1 to number 12 is, because there were 12 Jason films. And, 12 films starring Jason and Jason adjacent, which would be Pamela Voorhees. And I ranked it.
Jason. Really, dude?
That's right.
Really?
And I ranked it number 1 and number 12. So number 1 for me is Friday the 13th Part 2, because it was the first appearance of Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
Number 2 for me was Friday the 13th Part 1.
Okay.
It was a close call. I love what Pamela did, but for me, I think the introduction of Jason was it's what started this being just this ramped up amazing series.
In a way, Pamela was still involved in Part 2 a lot.
True. Number 3 for me was Friday the 13th, the final chapter from 1984. You guys can disagree in a second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 for me was Freddy versus Jason. Number 5 for me was Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Number 6 was Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. That's from 88. Number 7 for me was Friday the 13th, The New Beginning from 85. Number 8 for me sits the remake from 2009. As much as I crap on remakes, it was still better than everything that is coming beneath it in the Friday the 13th series, in my opinion. That is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, because seriously, stay in camp, kid. Number 10, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, because really, that was completely unnecessary, from 1993. Friday the 13th, Part 3 from 1982, probably the biggest piece of garbage I've ever seen, next to the film that comes next, which is Jason X. Jason Goes to Space. It should have never happened unless he was going to meet the leprechaun up there and they were both going to run a train on some train station while the xenomorphs jerked off in the corner.
What, did you have to amp it up because you have a guess now who tops you?
No.
Apparently.
I've thought about this thoroughly as to how this should happen.
Well,
Go. Okay. We're going to let Adam rank yours. How do you feel about it?
Okay, I can't really tell you how I rank all of these, because a lot of them, let's be perfectly honest, a lot of the sequels are like the same movie, so I just tried and I'm like, okay, I give up. But, alright, the thing, I do want to focus on Jason X for a second, okay?
Alright.
Because you keep talking about like it's terrible, and here's the thing, we know it's terrible. It was meant to be terrible.
It was funny.
That's the thing, it's fun. It was just fun. I went into that, I'm like, you know what? Jason just dunked a woman's head in liquid nitrogen and smashed it on a table. I'm having a good time.
He looked confused afterwards.
Yeah.
He did this, is like, okay.
No, but the best scene is when he's in the hologram and he's bashing the two girls in the sleeping bags. I almost died laughing. And keep in mind, I first saw this film with my cousins on a portable DVD player at Boy Scout camp. We were watching this. It's like 2 a.m. We're hysterically laughing. We wake up everybody. It was amazing. All right, but here's the thing, Jason. Like I said, a lot of the sequels are really just the same to me. Like, there's not much that distinguishes them for me, in my opinion. Jason X was at least a unique animal in the sense that it tried to just do something different, do something fun with Jason. Not meant to be taken seriously. It's not even canon. If you've seen Freddy vs. Jason, it's not canon at all. All right. So, yeah, I would not put Jason X dead last. Okay. I'm surprised the remake is as high on your list as it is, because I think that movie is.
Here's why my remake. Here's why
it's
the reason the remake is higher on the list is because it gave Jason some new skills, right? He was able to shoot now. He had learned something sometime in between the last movie and that he had developed. Maybe his trip to space helped him out, and when he came back to Earth, in 2009. It was he had learned.
Really trying to connect the film.
No, he had at least the guy could have run now.
Well, I'm gonna.
His trap setting was better.
Oh boy, I feel you're about to get Alexed.
Let's go.
I think you're about to get Alexed.
He kidnapped a woman for 4 months. How was he feeding her? How is she not malnourished by the time they get to her? How is she still in perfect friggin' health? Is Jason going to the store? Is he like, can you imagine Jason going grocery shopping? Okay, yeah, I'm going to the store. You want some carrots?
Actually, there's footage of him at Whole Foods.
It's like, okay. Was she feasting on rats to stay healthy? I have to know.
How did he get to Manhattan?
Understand this.
How did he get to Manhattan?
A boat?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, how did he make it through? You know how many cops are in Manhattan? You know how many cops were in Manhattan in the 80s? How did he, like... How is this?
Why are you trying to justify Jason Takes Manhattan in any way, shape, or form?
How are you trying to suspension of disbelief? Suspension of disbelief. That's how he fed her. Suspension of disbelief.
Okay, so it looks like
I have no answer.
They're both stupid.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
All right, Adam, so what is your number one on the list? And we'll wrap it up on that.
Okay, my favorite one is obviously the first one I've said. That's one of my favorite horror films. Okay, but I think my favorite one with Jason, and I feel bad saying this because I love Kane Hodder, Freddy vs. Jason. Because it has my favorite slasher fighting Jason, and it's a blast to watch.
I thought it was...
All right. And it's so much better than it's given credit for.
No,
Let's put it that way. It is so much better than it's given credit for.
I think people were expecting a lot more. They weren't expecting a story. I think when people were going into it, they were expecting it to be like a Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, just them fight for like 2 hours.
Right, fight. And it's just them going back and forth. And I love the ending of it. I think there's very few movies where you, at least in the horror genre, that I go, you got to the ending of it and was like, oh gosh. And I saw him wink.
Yeah.
I got a chill. I was like, oh, this isn't over. I enjoyed it.
Well, they were supposed to do another one, but they ended up, unfortunately, it ended up in graphic novel form, if you've ever read it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Actually, I do.
Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
It's on YouTube as well. There's a filmmaker that's got Ash versus every horror character.
Oh, nice.
That's
good.
Well,
it is
you know where they got that idea from. And Jason Goes to Hell, when they go into the house, the Necromonicon is right there on the desk.
Yeah, that book is everywhere.
Cool.
All right, guys, it's been a fun hour of just talking about slashers. We learned a lot today about body counts, and of course, at the end of all of our shows, what are we going to actually go through and
for
tell
me
people?
Really quick? I'm going to tell them to go to the site here in a few days when my review of Near Dark with Bill Paxton is up.
Okay.
And I was talking about this on the last episode.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite vampire films of all time. I had to go back and rewatch it and do a review about it because there's too many people that I've talked to that have not seen this film. Go watch Near Dark. Do it.
Okay, and I'll let our let's guest help us out. Go ahead, man. All right, what would you tell people right now? Either so you can plug your own thing or whatever you like to do, but tell our people what they should do for this week.
What you should do for this week is, well, we've spent this whole hour talking about slasher films, okay? And I think that if you are a fan of horror, like real horror, you should know what being scary is and what being annoying is. Though most horror films these days, all we see is jump scares. and they annoy the living hell out of me because it's all you're doing is jacking up the value. You're not creating real tension. You don't earn it. You're not earning the scare if that's all you do. And that's a big problem I have with all these remakes that are produced by Platinum Dunes. Okay, if you know it, they did the Friday 13th, they did The Hitcher, which hurt me. They did Texas Chainsaw. The beginning was okay. I will give the beginning some credit, like Texas Chainsaw the beginning. I will give that movie a little credit over the remake because I could tell that there was at least some effort put into that one. Okay, but Nightmare on Elm Street, that was the worst one, and that was the last straw for me. And the way that they just replaced all these amazing, horrific moments with ridiculous jump scares really upset me. And I think the only actor in that movie that was even trying was Katie Cassidy, and she's one of the first ones to die. Okay, and here's the thing. I love the idea of Jackie Earle Haley taking up the mantle. My issue with Jackie, because I think Jackie Earle Haley's an amazing actor. All right, and after seeing him as Rorschach, I think he could easily pull off Freddy Krueger.
He has issues with it.
But
he has issues with it.
Just wait. No, here's the thing. Okay, what bothered me and why I did not like his performance was not because of him. It was because of what was given to him. He had not a single original line in that movie. Every line given to him in that remake was a line that had already been said by Robert Englund. Sorry. But and that's the biggest insult to me, was that you remade this movie. Okay, you want to try new things. You want to try doing new things. And they don't follow through with any of them. They don't make any of these new things interesting. Okay, if anything, it's a significant downgrade to what came before. So what I would say to the people out there, respect the classics that earned the right to scare you and reject the ones that didn't.
I'll second that. That's great.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It makes my silly little shout out seem kind of weak after that really inspiring speech. But for me, right now, I'm in the middle of watching the entire series of Lost because of Nerdfest UK having their own court over Nerdfest over Lost. And so I'm going after this. I'm bringing it to an American court. So Nerdfest UK, if you're listening, give me some time. It's a long series. I'm coming for you.
We're extraditing Lost. We're bringing it back to the States, and we're gonna bring it to court,
a proper court,
with a judge, lawyers, the whole nine.
There was a polar bear on an island.
I'm okay with the polar bear on an island. I'm okay with that. But guys,
awesome show, though.
It's been fun.
We're gonna pick this up on a part 2 at a later date,
and as long as you're willing to come back at them, we're definitely on for another one because there's a lot more material I think we can cover.
I did not even realize it was going to be this long. Yeah. So go ahead and we're going to wrap it up then tonight.
That's it for tonight.
Anytime you guys want, I will gladly come back.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. That's it.